welcome back to the end of another week. We're out in the yard and all the fields around us have now been tilled and drilled, so everything's planted, but nothing's coming up yet. So now we get the summer task of watching the corn grow. My big accomplishment this week, at least for me, has been organizing the disaster that is the carport. I won't even bother showing a before picture because it looked horrible. But I was really excited because these shelves arrived, and I found them super affordable. So these things I ended up finding on Amazon, of all places, for literally around 50 euros each delivered, like include shipping and everything. So yeah, everything that was just on a giant pile in the floor here, and a bunch of stuff that was in my room, like all the garden stuff I was storing in my room because I didn't really have a spot. Like, it's all been moved out here, and I'm so excited. So I even have a little like planting or seedling spot. So this is going to be a like a potting area. And if I pot on the shelves, then I have these cardboard boxes to catch the dirt as it falls down so that I can just recycle it. And I have my bags of potting soil down there, and I have all sorts of like amendments and things in the buckets and fertilizers down here. Miscellaneous leftovers from our remodel. It's very exciting. I'm very excited. I got these big trash cans. So for my big stuff, like this is all my perlite. This has what's left of my vermiculite, but I have bags of vermiculite up in the attic. I had bought them for a different project and ended up massively overbuying because I can't math, apparently. Plus, also, if you buy a certain amount, shipping's free, and I'm always a sucker for free shipping. Out in the garden, let's head up to the chickens. Okay, out in the garden, chickens are hanging out, doing their chicken thing. I built them this little like pallet hut because it's getting hot. So that gives them a little bit more shade. But they do their chicken thing when it's not too hot. And because it got crazy warm this week, I want to take you in. Hold the thought on crazy warm. Francis fixed the little hole there, so he actually installed a little square piping thing because my previous one was getting all messed up. So that's an improvement, and it's working really well. It's been getting insanely hot. So one time this week, it got up to 95, and I found out kind of last minute that the poor little chickens, bark bark, they don't like it above like 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was like 95 degrees one day this week, and I felt really bad for them because they were like out and they were panting and their wings were out, and I was just like, they feel horrible. So I ordered this mister system. We haven't used it yet because the weather improved, but now they have a little mister system that goes in this corner here, and the idea is that I can plug it in from the outside. It's got a little attachment that'll plug into my hose. I can plug it in from the outside, and then it'll offer them a little misting zone in this corner, which doesn't have anything else except for my bench out there. But I think I've set the first mister far enough that it shouldn't really bother me if I'm sitting over there. So yeah, that was a thing. And I finally got around to starting to install their ventilation system. So you can see it's actually going, and Francis like made this 3D cover because before it didn't look great. So I have one more that'll hook in here. And the plan is that I'll drill another hole here, mount the fan in. Francis will make another one of these to kind of make it look pretty. And then these, this is for that one, but the 2 cords will probably just come up through like a hole in the middle or something like that. But yeah, so we have one more, and they're solar powered. So it goes up to the solar panel there. And that's working really well. So it just helps extract some of the warm air from inside during the hot days. And it turns off once the sun sets. So it's not going all night or anything. And then I think I mentioned earlier that I ended up replacing these with a new system because the previous system, I'm pretty sure the solar panel was kaput when it arrived. Because it never charged the light. So the lights were fantastic for the first like 2 days, and then they didn't work anymore. But these are working really well. So I can come out and they're remote controlled, and I can turn on the light and see what I'm doing out there. So what else is happening? Francis's birthday was this week. He turned 50, so we had a ton of family stuff. Earlier, we actually had burgers in town at one of the local little restaurants. So that was kind of cool. And yeah, things in the garden that are in the works. I don't know. His sister came today, actually. So I gave her like some onions and some garlic. But yeah, things in the works are, the cabbages are all basically done. Like they've all formed heads. And I need to cut them and go ahead and harvest them. And then I'll probably just try to store them kind of long term, or I might ferment them into like sauerkraut or something. Haven't really decided. The garlic definitely needs to come out. Obviously it looks terrible. Like it's all rust. Like the rust got to it really bad this year. So it all went kaput super early. The bulbs, there's still bulbs. So like if I come in and pull one out, we have bulbs, but they're pretty small. And, I'm going to go ahead and try to dry some of them, but I think a lot of them are going to end up getting like diced up and frozen rather than stored the traditional way. The same thing for the onions. These are the ones that like I planted from sets, and so they basically they all flowered rather than growing bulbs. So it's the same sort of thing. Like we can still use them. If I come in here and pull, like I pulled some out for his sister to take home, but like there is a tiny little bulb here, and what I'll end up doing is chopping them up, and I'll probably caramelize them or something, and then freeze them or fry them and dehydrate them or something. But basically like they're not gonna store like that. But I can still use them, so they're not a total waste. It's just one of those things that you have to use them like now, and I can't I can't possibly use all of these onions now. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to store them or preserve them basically. And then these are the other onions. So these are the same sets as those, and those were sold as overwintering onions. So I planted those in the fall of last year, and pretty much they've all gone to flower instead of producing bulbs. These ones are the exact same ones that I ended up planting in the spring because I had extras. And by the spring, like these looked like they weren't going to do what they were supposed to do. So we may get bulbs from this group. maybe. We'll see. And then I actually planted like the ones from seed, which may be just how I do it in the future. I planted the ones from seed here, and I think I mentioned last week that I took a bunch and I planted them in between my like peppers and tomatoes over here. Speaking of which, they're going crazy. I really need to get out here and probably prune them. But they're looking good. And before I get too cocky, I do definitely need to do something, because last year we had serious blight issues with the tomatoes, and lost them super early in the season. So I'm hoping to avoid that this year. But yeah, we'll figure it out. And these basil plants are coming in. So I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I bought little pots of basil that had like 4 to 5 little plants for like €1.50, for a little pot, which I'm sure some people are going to be like, oh, that's so expensive. But I'm still working on being able to plant things from seeds. But each of them I was able to like separate and plant them individually. So I think I bought like four pots at €1.50 each. And I planted them individually, and they're growing really well. So they're actually at a point where I need to come in and start, basically I need to come in and start using them, and I'll cut them like here, and that way they'll bush out at the little nodes on the bottom. And then you can even like put these back in water and they'll root, and you can grow new plants. But since I don't need to do that yet, I'm not going to. Like, I really, really like basil. So I'll come through at some point this week, and I'll start harvesting these tips so that the lower branches will come up and grow some stuff. And then later on in the season, at some point, I will start actually harvesting these to grow new plants. To try to keep my season going longer. But we'll see what happens. I think I also mentioned that I was waiting on a plant order to fill in like the rest of the section here, and on the other side I have some gaps, and they canceled my order. So that's kind of the story of my life with plants out here, is like I find them, they cancel them, and then I have to like argue to get the money back and everything. It's kind of a pain. But so the plants didn't arrive, and I'll probably end up going to the local nursery or something and getting some, like, I think I'm basically missing eggplant. That was the big one. None of the eggplants that I did from seed really survived, and I've only bought one. So like, this is an eggplant that I bought. And these are the eggplants that I grew from seed, which, like, you might say, oh, they look fine. But unfortunately, like, at their size now, and the fact that we're in June, like, I don't expect these to actually bear fruit. Which is the exact same thing that happened to me last year. And I started these earlier this year than last year, but for whatever reason, I just don't have the magic, and they just don't get big enough. So I really, like, at this point in the season, I really do need plants that are like big and ready to bear fruit. So like, if I come to this one that I bought from the store, like, it's already got a little flower here that's gonna come out and give me an eggplant. So yeah, one of these years I will figure out how to grow eggplant from seed, but this is not the year. I have a volunteer tomato. Those are always kind of cool. But yeah, you can see my cabbage. I'm not sure what's happening with this one, but like, that one definitely has a head. This one has a head. This one has a head, and that one is the youngest one, and it's almost out of head. So those definitely need to get harvested. And if I had a root cellar, I would stick them in that, but I don't. So I'll figure out some other way to keep them going. The fava beans are looking awesome. We have tons of flowers. Oh yeah, there's one of those horrible like white butterflies that everybody hates because they leave the caterpillars that eat everything. So interestingly, we have like beautiful fava beans, and for whatever reason, like right in here, we have like really gnarly fava beans. So I'm not sure what happened there, but if I come over to this other side, it's like what is that? I have no idea what happened to these guys. There's literally like four or like, yeah, they're probably, they might be the same plant actually. Now that I look at it, this is one plant, but it's like we have great fava beans, and then that. So, to be honest, I'll probably end up just pulling that out. I don't even think it's worth. I mean, the aphids have gone crazy on it. Look at that. But it's not putting out any flowers, unlike the other ones. Definitely have flowers on them. So yeah, I might just pull that one up. But yeah, we have the sweet peas are coming in, the green beans are coming in, everything's coming in. So yeah, it's June 1st, and the garden is looking super legit. We have like tomato flowers, so that's exciting. Basil, like even like this basil's bolting, which is wild. So yeah, I need to get in and like cut that off and hope that it keeps growing from the bottom. Otherwise, I might be propagating some of the other ones to replace that one. So yeah, next week you might notice a bunch of stuff gone. And that means that I won't spend so much time out in the garden, like fooling around. I'll probably be in the kitchen trying to figure out how to save my harvest. So yeah, if you have any awesome ideas on preserving garlic or preserving onions or even preserving cabbage, that doesn't involve like just drying it and curing it the normal way, because like I can't really do that with these, and I definitely can't do that with these. Let me know. I'm super curious. Otherwise, yeah, things to do this week will be figuring out how to do that. So that's what's on my plans. I hope you had a good week. It's June. We're halfway through the year. I'll leave you with the field. And if I zoom in, you can actually see that like it is definitely here. Look, it's definitely planted. All those straight rows of green will be the corn that takes over the view for the summertime. Anyway, that's it for this week. I hope you had a good one. I'll see you next week. Bye.